Think about your car for a second. Is it built to last, or is it built to be replaced? Most people believe that reliability is just a happy accident, a stroke of luck from a factory line. But as a archeologist, I've unearthed the secret blueprints of the 1980s that prove otherwise. This wasn't luck. This was an act of total industrial assassination. By 1983, the German elite, Mercedes and BMW, thought they were untouchable. They looked at Japan as a factory for cheap, soulless commuters. They never saw it coming. Inside the high-security labs of Project F1, Toyota wasn't just building a car, they were prepping a mechanical nuclear bomb. This is the autopsy of the 1UZ-FE, the engine that didn't just compete with the Germans, it humiliated them. Forget what you think you know about longevity. We are unearthing the billion-dollar obsession that broke the rules of metal and oil forever. This is the story of how one company decided to stop following the market and start destroying it. To understand this machine, you have to understand the sheer scale of the army Toyota mobilized. We aren't talking about a small team in a basement. We are talking about 1,400 engineers, 2,300 technicians, 600 support staff, all given one single terrifying mandate: eliminate every microscopic vibration, regardless of the cost. While the rest of the world was satisfied with 10 or 20 prototypes, Toyota built 900. Let that sink in. 900 physical iterations of a V8 before they even considered it for production. Why? Because they were hunting for a level of harmonic balance that the human ear couldn't even detect. They used laser interferometry to study the vibration of every single bolt at 100 miles per hour. If a single nut hummed at a frequency they didn't like, the entire assembly was redesigned. They didn't just test these engines, they tortured them across 2.7 million kilometers. That is the equivalent of driving to the moon and back 3 times. From the scorched earth of the Arizona desert, where the heat is enough to warp standard iron, to the sub-zero peaks of the Swedish Alps, where metal becomes brittle as glass, every single failure was seen as a gift, an opportunity to over-engineer. By the time this motor hit the streets, it was more refined than a Swiss watch and tougher than a main battle tank. They weren't just building a motor, they were building an immortal legacy. Now look deeper. Peel back the aluminum skin of this masterpiece, and you find a foundation that belongs on a Le Mans starting grid. This 4.0-liter, 32-valve quad-cam V8 utilized a high silicone aluminum alloy for the block. This wasn't for weight savings, it was for thermal stability. Most engines expand and contract so much that they eventually leak or warp. Not the 1UZ, but the real treasure, the 6-bolt main bearings. In the world of archeology, this is the holy grail. While the most expensive European V8s of the time used 2 or 4 bolts to hold the crankshaft, Toyota used 6. This is racing-grade architecture designed to survive 24 hours of red-line abuse. The foundation was so overbuilt that while it only made 250 horsepower from the factory, the block and the forged steel crank were physically capable of sustaining 1,000 horsepower without a single internal modification. Toyota wasn't building a motor for a 5-year lease. They were building a mechanical vault designed to outlive the person who bought it. Every bearing was coated in a secret friction-reducing layer that made the engine virtually immune to wear and tear. This wasn't just mass production, this was mechanical art. It was as if Toyota took a Formula One engine and detuned it for the street just to show off. The true impact of this billion-dollar bomb hit the world in 1989 at the Detroit Auto Show. The archaeology of the German response is a story of pure, unadulterated panic. When Toyota showcased the legendary Champagne Pyramid, stacking crystal glasses on a running LS400 at 145 miles per hour without a single ripple, the German ego cracked. Mercedes-Benz executives reportedly purchased several LS400s and took them into their secret bunkers in Stuttgart, searching for a cheat or a hidden balancer. They found nothing but superior machining that they simply couldn't replicate. It forced Mercedes to scrap their upcoming S-Class and spend another $1 billion just to catch up. This delay cost them their global monopoly. It proved once and for all that luxury wasn't a heritage, it was an engineering achievement.
They had to redesign their entire manufacturing process because Toyota had moved the goalposts into another galaxy. The Germans realized that for the first time in a century, they were no longer the smartest people in the room. But why does it last? Let's dig into the chemical archaeology. The 1UZ utilized a specialized quad cam setup where each cam was driven by a massive, oversized timing belt that was wider than what you'd find on a drag racer. The pistons were made of a lightweight, high-strength alloy, and the valve train featured solid lifters for maximum precision. Toyota engineers were so obsessed that they redesigned the intake manifold 20 times just to change the way the air sounded as it entered the combustion chamber. They didn't just want it to work, they wanted it to be silent. Even the radiator fan blades were designed with irregular spacing to break up sound waves and prevent a whirring noise. This is the level of detail that $1 billion buys you. While other manufacturers were cutting corners to save pennies on plastic clips, Toyota was polishing the internals of an engine that most owners would never even see. It was the ultimate hidden masterpiece. They even used gold-plated electrical connectors in some areas to prevent corrosion over decades of use. This isn't just engineering, it's paranoia fueled by $1 billion. In archeology, we search for eternal engines, and the 1UZ is the undisputed king. We have documented cases of these motors reaching 1,000,000 miles on original factory internals. Think about that, 1,000,000 miles. That is the triumph of low-stress engineering. Toyota built a racing-grade V8 and only asked for at 25% of its potential. With oversized oil passages, military-grade wiring, and zero plastic compromises, it was built for a 50-year legacy. While modern 2026 engines are currently being recalled for machining debris, fragile timing chains, and catastrophic failures, the LS400 1989 1UZ stands as an artifact of a superior civilization, a civilization that prioritized quality over quarterly profits. It remains a silent partner that refuses to die, turning the Lexus LS400 into a mechanical ghost that will haunt the scrapyards long before its rivals are gone. It's not just a machine, it's a survivor from an era where good enough was considered a failure. This engine is the reason Lexus went from a nobody to the most trusted name in luxury in less than a decade. But as the decades passed, the archaeology shifted to the tuning scene. Drifters and speed hunters realized the 1UZ was effectively a V8 2JZ. Because of those 6-bolt mains, you could bolt on a massive turbo and triple the horsepower without ever opening the block. It became a cult icon, a silent partner that could turn into a roaring monster on command. Toyota's billion-dollar investment didn't just buy a quiet ride, it bought mechanical immortality. People began swapping these into drift cars, off-road trucks, and even boats because they knew it would never leave them stranded. Even today in the world of professional drifting, people are pulling these engines out of 30-year-old sedans and subjecting them to 800 horsepower abuse, and they just take it. The 1UZ FE remains the gold standard of what happens when engineers, not accountants, run the world. It is quite simply the greatest V8 ever made. Every bolt, every gasket, and every piston tells the same story, a story of a brand that refused to be second best. It's a legend that only gets better with time, proving that true quality never goes out of style. When we look back at the history of the internal combustion engine, few machines stand as tall as the 1UZ. It was a billion-dollar declaration of war that worked flawlessly. It changed the world, it broke the status quo, and it established a standard of reliability that hasn't been matched since. In a world of disposable plastic and planned obsolescence, where cars are treated like smartphones to be traded in every 2 years, the 1UZ is a reminder of what we are capable of when we strive for perfection. It's the king of the road, the god of the garage, and the undisputed champion of the million-mile club. The Lexus LS400 wasn't just a car, it was the delivery system for the most perfect V8 ever conceived. And, if you know about, our next topic is every BMW M engine explained, from the S14 masterpiece to the S63 money pit. We're going to excavate why some M engines are legends and why others are just a quick way to empty your bank account. Subscribe and press the bell icon, and if you like the video, don't forget to share and like. This is the Carcheologist, signing off.